Good morning and welcome to the Ladies' Tea, show dedicated to all things women golf, coming to you live from Bethpage State Park Golf here in Bethpage, New York. This is your guest host, Lori-Ann Cerullo. I'm the president of the Women's Metropolitan Golf Association, known as the WMGA, and I'm sitting in for host Megan Yukman, who is the LPGA professional and director of instruction here at Bethpage. Megan is busy in Toledo, Ohio at the Solheim Cup this weekend, so I'm hosting today's show. And I have a special guest, the lovely and talented Ina Kim Shad. Ina, are you on the line? I wonder where Ina is. Hold on. Ina, are you there?
Yes, good morning. I'm here.
Good morning, Ina. Oh, the wonders of technology. Thank you for joining us this early morning. I appreciate you coming on board.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. For those who don't know Ina is has many accomplishments. She's recently the 2019 U.S. Women's Mid-Amateur Champion, as well as the 2019 WMGA Player of the Year. She played on the Symetra Tour as an amateur in 2018. I know she started golf at the age of 6. She played in the Junior Ryder Cup in 1999 and was the AGA first team All-American in 2000. And she was the U.S. Junior Girls runner-up in 2000 as well. She went to Northwestern University, was their team captain at the academic All-Big Ten. And she took a hiatus from competitive golf after graduating, and then after about 10 years, after your successful professional career in finance, you started playing again. And Ian, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's when you also met your husband, Ian, correct?
Yes, well, I met Ian in, I want to say about 2013, and he's actually the one who got me back into golf. So.
Got it. Terrific. And I know sometimes in your competition now that he is actually your caddy and on your bag at times. So yeah, that's great teamwork.
He allows me one tournament a year, and it's now become the Mid-Am, obviously, because we're defending this year. So
absolutely.
Still caddy for me.
Absolutely. And also, Ina is on our board member of the WMGA. She is our junior chair, and we love having her talent and her insights for that. And with that, Ina, I wanted to talk about, we have a lot of things going on with team events and tournaments. We had the Curtis Cup last week where, the U.S. team came back from a 3-point deficit to do a win, which I thought was great. And we have, obviously, the Solheim Cup going on. So the first question I want to ask you, and you were with the Junior Ryder Cup, is golf is very much an individual sport. Usually it's you against the field. But in these team events, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of team spirit. But what's the dynamic differences in these team events that you focus on and that you think is the most important in getting these individuals to work cohesively as a team?
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. I mean, the team dynamics are so important. People gelling with each other, kind of understanding each other's game and being able to pull through under pressure moments and complementing each other. I think when you hear some of the interviews for any of these team events, the pressure that you have tends to be a lot more when you're in team events because you feel like you're letting down your country.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Play poorly in an individual event, all right, it's just myself, but you feel like you have the weight of the country on your shoulders. So it's funny reading a lot of these interviews or listening to them on TV or radio because I think people really get excited, especially the professionals that play week in and week out, because it's such a different dimension that's added to the competitive golf that they're normally used to. So it's very exciting to watch. It's really cool to see how they all interact. It's interesting to see how the captains decide to mix up the pairings. So it's all just very, very, I love watching these team events. They're so fun.
They are fun. And actually, from your experience, I know in the WMGA we have the Enos Cup that is our juniors against our sister teams, golf associations in Boston and Philadelphia. And we were successful and victorious this year at your leadership. And I know the gals were very complimentary about the inspiration and the pep talk you gave them. What was the special tidbits that you, of nuggets of information that you gave them as they prepared for this tournament?
Oh gosh, you're jogging my memory, but thank you. I think mostly I just talked to them about how golf really, truly is meant to be fun. And I really wanted them to be there that week to have fun and to enjoy the experience and not worry about the outcome. And I think I quoted a little bit from, Ben Hogan's career, who everybody knows so much about his successes, but they don't really hear much about his failures. But it took him a full 10 years after he turned professional to win his first golf tournament. And he actually quit his very first 2 tournaments as a professional. He literally withdrew in the middle of the tournament because he felt like he wasn't playing good enough. And so even Ben Hogan, the great Ben Hogan, had a lot of growing up to do, frankly, when he turned professional. And it took him a long time to learn to get better at handling, everything that comes with playing competitive golf. So, I think the lesson there for the girls that I hope they took away was that, failure is built into golf, truly. And it's how we deal with that failure and how we can grow from it, because it's just inevitable. One person wins every week. You can't possibly win every single tournament. You can't possibly have 18 good holes every single day. It's possible, but it's very, very difficult. So, failure is baked into the recipe of life and golf. So rolling with the punches, being resilient, keeping your confidence, and just enjoying the ride is really what I hope they take from it, and I hope they play for the rest of their lives.
No, and that's great insight, and it really is that fun employment, the fun attitude of it. And I'll just tidbit here of personal history on that. I was playing with a partner event, and it was playing with an A player, and she's a great gal, did collegiate golf, and on the first hole she had a little chip in and she just missed it. And she looked at me and she was surprised, and I said, actually it was the best thing that she did, because it made me realize nobody's perfect, and it really took the pressure off me to have every single shot 100% perfect. And then being on the first hole, it really just relaxed me, and I'm like, listen, if she can miss it every once in a while, then I can miss it. And we just went on and had a great day, and it made it a lot more fun, because that helped take the pressure off me. So I clearly understand how it could be magnitudes greater pressure, at the world stage, if you will, than it is at my individual event. But it really is true of having fun. So that is a very important part from that. So, yep. And so with that, what I wanted to do is spend this time on today's show to talk about tournaments, and with that in regards to the preparation. So as you're going to these events, the first question I have for you, Ina, is when you're 3 days out, maybe 2 to 3 days out, what's the preparation that you look for, in regards to your routines with both training as well as practical things like how do you deal with the jet lag? The Curtis Cup was over, on the other side of the pond, and then they have to come for the Solheim Cup here. How do you work with the jet lag, the practice rounds? What are the things that you have to coordinate and prepare for when you're T-minus 3 days out from a tournament?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. I typically tend to really steer away from any technical work going into any tournament. So, most of the technical work that I do will be, weeks or months in advance. And all I'm focused on kind of the week going in is just my feel, feeling very, getting my confidence up, feeling like I'm playing every day rather than eating balls on the range. Mm-hmm. I think everybody's different, but I don't know a whole lot of bowling professionals that going into a tournament who are working golf in positions
right.
that can play well. You get overly mechanical and your toe gets off and you're not focused on the right things. So I would say probably just being able to focus more on your tempo and your feel and getting into the cadence of playing golf holes and score. Is my main focus going into this week.
Got it.
In regards to jet lag, I wish I traveled abroad more often to have to deal with jet lag. Typically, it's just within the U.S. Most of the tournaments, they do have a few abroad. And I typically, if I'm going east, I really like to take the red eye. So I land in the morning, I go straight to the golf course. I get either a practice round or practice in, then I try and rest and get a good night's sleep. I know a lot of people who take melatonin the first night just to get immediately onto schedule. But like I said, everybody's different. I don't take melatonin. I don't. But someday, maybe if I start not sleeping well, then I'll try that.
Got it. How do you do the weather forecast? I mean, you kind of have to pack for various weather scenarios. Do you look ahead? Do you have just a standard packing list, or how do you accommodate weather variations?
Yes, a good question. I absolutely packed for the weather that's expected. So I think most golfers who travel for golf have about 5 different weather apps on their phone. I'm certainly one of them. I like, I'll do my cursory check with the Apple Weather app, and then I'll check dark sky, and then I'll check WeatherBug, and then I'll check Weather on the Ground, and then the Weather Channel, just to make sure.
Yep. Couple of different viewpoints.
Yeah, I would say regardless of what the weather forecast says, especially if I'm going to be out there for more than 3-4 days, I will always pack my rain gear regardless. The rain gear is a must no matter what, because you just never know. And it's so light, it doesn't take up a lot of room. So I'll always pack rain gear regardless. Then lots of layers if it's going to be cold. I run pretty cold, so I tend to have 5 layers on in the morning, and then I slowly peel them off during the day if it warms up. But I definitely am on the side of being over-prepared rather than underprepared.
Kind of like being overdressed and underdressed. Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, well, with that, let me take a quick break for our sponsors, and we'll be back with Ina Kim Shad.
Spine Care Technologies is an amazingly innovative medical device company. Their flagship product, the Extend Track Elite, is world-renowned among pain management centers, sports medicine experts, physical therapists, and chiropractors. Spine Care Technologies is dedicated to improving sports performance by relieving acute, chronic back pain and its disabling effects. The Extend Track Elite is FDA cleared, non-surgical, drug-free, and has been praised by health professionals around the world for its excellent clinical results in treating low back pain. Learn more at spinecaretechnologies.com.
The all-new Hyperflex from Footjoy is tuned for golf, with every detail designed and developed with the golfer in mind. Starting at the top, it looks awesome. The fresh material on the upper provides a great fit that forms to your foot and is fully waterproof. Next, the all-new Rapid Fit system ensures a dialed-in, precision fit, wrapping your foot in complete security. It offers incredible comfort with a new Stratofoam midsole, coupled with the OptiFlex outsole so that the shoe and the foot move in unison, whether walking or swinging. Available now in laced and the new Rapid Fit system. Shop now at footjoy.com.
Hey, have you guys seen the new Taylormade Driver? Introducing the Taylormade Sim 2. Built differently around a forged aluminum ring that shifts weight in new ways. They made it so long and forgiving, golfers can't wait for their next chance to tee off. Sim 2 gives every golfer the confidence to swing away every time they step up to the tee. Only from Taylormade.
Welcome back. This is Lorianne Cerullo, president of the WMGA, sitting in here for Meg Euchman at Bethpage. We are talking with Ina Kim Shad about tournament preparation. So, Ina, we talked just before the break about what do you do for preparation 3 to 5 days before, a little bit about jet lag as well as packing. But now we're coming up to T-1 day. So you're at location, you've done the practice round. What do you do the night before? I'm always curious. I know it's very personal that people have different things, but what's your method and your routine for the night before the events?
Yeah, as you said, it is so different for so many people, and I think people fine-tune that over the years, just traveling and playing. For myself personally, I like to have a pretty restful night, which typically means going out for a meal that's balanced. So I like to have some veggies, some carbs, some protein. I don't like to do any one single thing too much, so you typically won't see me have a giant plate of just pasta and bread,
right.
Unless maybe a 36-hole match play event. That will definitely have more carbs. But I really like to have a balance of everything. And then I like to go to bed kind of before 9:30 or 10, if at all possible. And if it's a super early tea time, I'll try and go to bed before if I can. And that starts in the morning. If I know I have, say, the next morning, I probably will skip my coffee or do a half dose of coffee in the morning just so I know I will sleep well in the evening.
Right.
And all you lucky people out there who are immune to caffeine, and you wouldn't have to change that. But I try not to drink a ton of caffeine, so I will typically scale back a little bit if I know I have an early time.
Got it. So now when the alarm wakes up, when you set the alarm, do you allow for additional time the next morning for, your at-home routine? Do you do some light workout stretches before even getting to the course? What do you do once that alarm clock wakes you up that morning?
So I actually have it down to science getting ready in the morning. I can be, from the time the alarm goes off and walking out the door, including breakfast, it's typically like 30 minutes.
Okay. You're fast.
I am fast. And it's just from years and years of travel. But
yep.
I know people who will wake up a full hour and a half before and do a stretching routine. I don't really do that just because I'm getting away with some I guess, good genetics, and I don't feel super tired when I wake up in the mornings. But I'm sure, if you ask me in a few years, I'll probably have it. But yeah, I typically like to set at least 2 to 3 alarms so that I can sleep more soundly. It's more of a mental thing for me. I get anxiety if I have just one alarm that's going off at, say, 4:30 in the morning. I'm worried I'm going to snooze it. I'm sleeping so hard. So I'll probably set 3 alarms just to be safe, and then I can actually rest better knowing that I have those backup alarms. And then, again, for breakfast, I typically like to have a more protein-heavy carb that I like to have every food group, minus vegetables, in the morning, but definitely carbs, fat, and so I eat a lot of eggs in the morning. I'll have toast, peanut butter, maybe a banana, and just the course. I always allow for a little bit of buffer when people match me. And yeah, you just never know if there's going to be an accident or something like that. So I always add in a buffer.
Well, no, you have to add, especially these days with, construction going on all over the place. You got to give yourself a little extra time to get to the course. But I have to say, I was chuckling here because to make sure I was up in time to get here, I did set 3 alarms to make sure I got up. So I take that trick as well. So then from that perspective, so you're up in 30 minutes, which is actually fantastic that you're up and out in 30 minutes. And then when you give yourself some time to get to the course, what typically, if you have a tee time at 11 o'clock, what do you typically like to get to the course at? 3 hours before, 4 hours? What's your kind of general...
Oh, yeah. My general rule is between 1 and 1.5 hours.
Okay.
Really, it depends on the facility. So, sometimes you get to the golf course when you do a practice run and you see that everything's really all in the same place and it's really easy to get to the first tee and the bathroom's right there. And that I can handle in an hour. But, there's a lot of facilities where the first tee is a 10-minute walk and the clubhouse is, another 5 minutes away because you use the bathroom before you tee off and all that. So I'll go an hour and a half early for those.
Right.
So I'm not rushing around. I think the worst kind of thing that we can do is already being on your back foot when you arrive at a tournament venue because you're rushing around. You emotionally never catch up by the time you get to the first tee. And for golfers, your tempo is so important to play well. If you've already lost it before you even get to the golf course, then you're at such a disadvantage. So if you like an hour, I would say just put in buffer. You'd rather sit around and be lazy and enjoy your cup of coffee before you tee off than you rush and never catch up.
No, I agree. When you're cutting it real close, that anxiety goes up, and it takes me 3 to 5 holes before I'm back down and calm down. So I absolutely agree with you on that tempo. It is quite key. So then, when you do get to the course an hour to an hour and a half beforehand, what's your process in warming up? Is it long game, short game putting? Is it just stretching? What's typically your routine to get the body ready for the actual golf swings?
Yeah, I typically, if they have a chipping green, I really like to start on the chipping green because I feel like it kind of loosens up my wrist and establish a little bit of tempo because chipping is so much feel-oriented. So I really start there before I head to the range, and then I'll do a little mini stretch before I start hitting balls. But my wrist can't feel up. So then I'll hit not too many golf balls, but enough where I feel like I've worked through, say 4 or 5 clubs. Mm-hmm. And then I will typically finish on the because when I have the speed for the green speeds right before I go on the course, that's the most important aspect for me. So I will usually end on the putting green.
Okay, so you do the putting green. So let me ask you this: when you're so let's say you're getting to a course, you've done your chipping, like you said, and then you go to the long game, and then you go into the putting. If there's something like a wind condition or something that's really going to be affecting your golf, do you take the time there to try some certain techniques or strategies, given any of that last minute, actual true happening right there at the day in regards to that? Or do you kind of have that already and you're just like, okay, it's windy, I'm going to be going a little bit more right? What do you do when there's something that's very different than a typical, sunny 80-degree day with perfect sky and all that?
That's a really good question, and I definitely try and adapt to what I'm going to be using that day. And it's funny, you see like a lot of players who maybe don't play competitive golf or even junior, their routine's always kind of the same. And you get to the course and say you've got a lot of knockdown wedges that you end up having to play because it's just a course that you end up having a lot of knockdown wedges for whatever reason, the yardage.
Right.
And they don't actually practice that before in the morning on the range. And so, I do try and integrate some of the shots that I'll have out on the course if they are different than, your standard stock shot. So as you alluded to, if it's going to be windy, I'll definitely try and hit a few knockdown shots in the range to just have a feel for it. Mm-hmm. So I get my, you're going to hear me, I sound like a broken record, get my tempo in order that day. I don't want to be rushing through a knockdown shot and adding spin to it because I'm rushing through it. So right. It's definitely it's a great question. I do try and adapt to the conditions. I try and hit some shots that if I have to club up a couple because it's windy and rainy, right, then I'll kind of work on those. So yeah, a little bit, sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, last question before the next break is in regards to that. As you kind of mentioned, you didn't want to rush to the tee. You want to have the time to kind of, if you will, decompress. Adapt to any of the last minute changes that you're seeing there based on weather or other conditions, and then you're going to that first tee. What's the last thing that you practiced before teeing off? You said you were in the putting surface, but as you're getting ready to go to the tee, what's the last part of your routine before you're doing that first tee off?
I really like to hit a couple last minutes just last because speed is so key. It's a lot easier to kind of get your speed right on 5 to 10 footer, but the 30 ones that are difficult. So I'll usually hit a couple last lag putts just up and down, and then maybe a couple 3 to 4 footers just to get my confidence up to right before I step on the tee.
Great. No, I'm sitting here, smiling at that one because I have this routine that I have to go probably, like you said, about 20 to 30 feet out, and I have to get it in 2 putts for the 3 balls that I have. And like, if I could do that, and I've sunk them after 2 strokes, then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to play. And it's like, if I don't do that, I have to take the balls out and redo it until I do that. It's kind of like my little superstition of getting ready for a tournament. So I could certainly understand that.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Well, let's go to our second break, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the mental preparation in regards to that. I'm sure you have some key insights there. So let's go to our second commercial break.
Sounds good.
If you suffer from low back pain, joint stiffness, or sciatica due to herniated disc or acute facet joint problems, you need to know about a spine therapy device called ExtendTrack Elite. ExtendTrack Elite incorporates multi-axis spinal positioning, traction, and joint and soft tissue mobilization. Your doctor or therapist can use ExtendTrack Elite to move your body into pain-relieving, therapeutic positions that keep your body relaxed as your spine is mobilized. Learn more about ExtendTrack Elite at spinecaretechnologies.com.
Ever hit that one perfect iron shot and think, well, that's the one shot that will keep me coming back? Well, why does it have to be one shot? Why can't it be 5, 10, or even 50 shots that keep you coming back? That was TaylorMade's inspiration when they designed the all-new TaylorMade Sim 2 irons. Their unique cap-back design is engineered for more forgiveness, more distance, more often. Feel what it's like to play with better irons with the all-new Sim 2s from TaylorMade.
Footjoy sets the standard for golf shoe performance and style in 2021 with the all-new Premier Series, inspired by golf shoes of the past, but supercharged for today's game. Designed in collaboration with the world's best players like Justin Thomas, Adam Scott, and Max Homa, the Premier Series features classic styling with premium waterproof leathers and great details that exude craftsmanship. That is complemented by state-of-the-art comfort and performance features like the VersaTrax Plus outsole. Learn more about the Premier Series at footjoy.com. Hey golfers! Most of you have heard about the championship golf course at Bethpage Black, but it surprises me how many people don't know that there are 4 other courses. Not everyone needs to be a scratch golfer to play at Bethpage. The other 4 courses are set up for beginners, women, juniors, and high handicappers alike. After golf, visit our 4,000 square foot pro shop where every item down to golf balls are logoed with the Bethpage Black logo. Visit BethpageGolfCourse.com for more info or to shop online.
Welcome back. We're at the last segment here for the Ladies' Tea. I'm Lorianne Cerullo, host from the president of the WMGA, and I'm here with Ina Kimshad. Ina, we talked a lot about the tournament prep from the standpoint of 3 days out, the day of. But one question for you in this last segment is, you know, I know that you're currently working with Dr. Gio Violante as a mental performance coach. So what can you tell us about the mental prep in regards to for a tournament? And as well, a second question there is, what advice do you have when after you started playing and you just had either a blow-up hole or a very difficult hole, how do you regroup? Can you give us the folks on the radio some advice in regards to the mental game?
Yeah, sure. So for me, I think I would say, you know, my mental preparation going into a tournament is not necessarily different than what I do kind of in the rest of the month or week or year. This is an area that is a constant work in progress for me, and I think for all of our players in our stable. So I'm not necessarily doing anything differently going into a tournament. It's more of a culmination of all the little improvements that I've been trying to make throughout the year. I really do. I think the main kind of tenets that I like to focus on from a mental perspective are just taking it shot by shot, which is, you know, I'm not putting stress on any single individual shot, right? If I have a putt for eagle, I'm not trying to steer it into the hole by saying, you know, this is an eagle, you have to make it. It's just another golf shot.
Yep.
I like to really focus on my tempo. I take a lot of breaths before and after to just get my physical system a little bit more relaxed. And I think, you know, detachment from any shot, particularly the bad ones, is really key for me. I need to really remember always to forgive and forget. So I hit a bad shot, I say, okay, I accept it, it happened, and then rather than dwelling on it and beating myself up about it, which I definitely used to do in the past, I really try and actively let go of it, forget about it, and I move on to my next shot.
Well, great advice, Ina, and I appreciate all your insights and your tidbits and nuggets of information you gave us. Thank you very much for joining us, and again, thank you for the sponsors here at Golf Institute, Titleist, Footjoy, Jane Lindbergh, as well as Spine Care Technologies. So thank you, Ina, very much. Enjoy your weekend, and happy Labor Day.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it.